So let's talk about what looks to be the biggest movie of all time right now as far as box office, Avengers Infinity War, and specifically one thing that happened in the movie that's going to probably end up being a major plot point for Avengers 4. Of course, I always give you guys a warning. This video is going to have spoilers for Avengers Infinity War, so do not keep watching. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it, then come back and check the video out. I'll give you a couple seconds right now to go ahead and click off of this video if you have not seen the movie. So, that should be enough time. Let's talk about Doctor Strange's vision, Doctor Strange's prophecy, and how it's going to be a major factor going forward with Avengers 4. So, let's recap what happens in the film. So, there's a scene in the movie where Doctor Strange is looking all weird, like his head is moving in weird directions, and I think it was Mantis was like, "What's wrong with your friend?" And they all look over at him. The dude's in a weird trance. He comes out of it and he says that he used the time stone to go into the future. And he says that in the future, he saw 14, well, not the future, but a possible future. He went to several possible futures. And when he went into these futures, there was like 14,605,000 futures. You know, he could see the outcome of the battle with Thanos and how they were going to survive, if they were going to survive. And in fact, Tony Stark, Iron Man, asked him, how many do we win? And Doctor Strange said, 1. And that was an interesting little thing that when I first watched the movie, right, as I'm watching it, I thought it was just going to be a joke. It sounds like it's just a joke, like a little one-note joke, like, oh, we only have one chance to win this, and they wound up failing. I don't know, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that's actually going to be a plot point that's going to go into Avengers 4. The battle between Thanos and Doctor Strange took place, and it was amazing. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. And so, afterward, Thanos is about to kill Iron Man, but then Doctor Strange says, no, if you spare his life, I'll give you the time stone. So Thanos was like, okay, fine. He makes the deal, goes over, and gets the time stone. And then Tony Stark is like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And they never really followed up on this until later on when Thanos gets all the stones, wipes away half of reality, I guess you can say. And Doctor Strange tells Tony that this is now the end game, okay? Now, he said it was the only way. He said it had to be done. Now, I found that very interesting, and I want to go ahead and get you guys' theories on what this actually means down below in the comments. I want to hear what y'all think about all this, but the way I'm perceiving it is that when he went to these different futures, these different visions of the future, the 14,605,000 different futures, the one that they win, the one that they survive, involves Tony Stark. It involves Tony Stark surviving. In other words, Thanos was going to kill Iron Man right then and there, and the only way to win this is by having Iron Man be alive. So somehow Thanos, even with the time stone, and it seems on the surface like giving him the time stone was a bad idea, is going to somehow lose this. And we knew he was going to, but I mean, according to the vision, because of Tony Stark. Something that Tony will do in the next film is going to adversely affect the future of Thanos and be the gamble that Doctor Strange took. Doctor Strange took a huge risk here by giving Thanos the time stone, especially since, and here's where things get interesting, Thanos could use that time stone to go into these futures himself and see how he loses. See what I'm saying? He could do that himself, but he's probably not going to, because now that the deed is done, when he snapped his fingers, he has no reason to even do that because he probably thinks that everything is fine now. He's relieved. He doesn't even care anymore. But that's going to end up being his downfall. So the question is, what could Tony have that's so important for the future? And I think what it is that Tony and Captain America are probably going to sacrifice themselves at some point in Avengers 4 so that people can come back. Now, how this sacrifice will happen, I really don't know. Perhaps Tony and his nanotechnology can maybe do something with the Ant-Man or with Captain Marvel or something to where they could figure out maybe how to get into the gauntlet and remove the stones or something of that nature. Now, one thing that popped into my mind is, well, we saw the Infinity Gauntlet appear to be damaged. Now, remember, the gauntlet was damaged, not the stones. So, would it be out of the realm of possibility that Tony and maybe the dwarves, but I would say Tony could maybe create his own version of the Infinity Gauntlet and maybe wield the gauntlet? I mean, that could also be a possibility, that he needs to stay alive to do that. There have been rumors that Avengers 4 is going to involve time travel. And I assume that time travel would only be possible with the Time Stone. But if you've read Marvel Comics, especially some of the X-Men stuff, you know that time travel, there's all kinds of ways you can travel through time in Marvel Comics. Now, obviously, a lot of the X-Men stuff won't be in these movies because Marvel doesn't have the rights to the X-Men yet. As of this video, they might eventually, probably sooner than later. But the movie's already been pretty much written and shot, so they could figure out a different way to go back in time and get everything and fix everything by getting the Infinity Stones before Thanos even did. So again, it could be possible that maybe Stark makes his own Infinity Gauntlet, then they get the Time Stone somehow, or figure out a way to go back in time, and they retrieve the Infinity Stones before Thanos does. And that could be why they're kind of going to redo the old Avengers movies. They could, because there's footage of them like reshooting old scenes from Avengers 1. So that could be what they do, and then maybe go toe-to-toe against Thanos with their Infinity Gauntlet. See, I really don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but the point is that Doctor Strange's prophecy, I think, is going to have a major, major key factor in the outcome of Avengers 4, and that was not just thrown in there as a joke. I think it actually means something. I think that he's going to end up being right all along, and that the 14 million futures only worked out if Tony was alive. So let me know if you have any theories on this, anything else you want to throw in there that maybe I missed. I'd love to read it and read your thoughts and hear it. We have a long way to go before the movie comes out in a year, and I look forward to seeing what happens. Thank you. Hope you all have a good one. I look forward to seeing that down below. Talk to you soon.